David Starr Jordan was born on an apple orchard in upstate New York in 1851 at the darkest time of the year, which is perhaps why he became so preoccupied with the stars. While husking corn on autumn evenings, he writes of his boyhood, I became curious as to the names and significance of the celestial bodies. He could not just enjoy their twinkling. He found them a mess he needed ordered, known. When he was about 8 years old, he got his hands on an atlas of astronomical charts and began comparing what he saw on the page to what he saw above his head. Night by night he went, creeping out of the house, attempting to learn the name of every star in the sky. And according to him, it took only 5 years to bring order to the entire night sky. As a reward, he chose Star as his middle name and wore it proudly for the rest of his life. Having mastered the celestial, David Starr Jordan turned to the terrestrial. His family's land swelled and rolled with its own unique constellations of trees, boulders, farm buildings, and livestock. His parents kept him busy with chores, shearing the sheep, clearing brush, and, David's specialty, sewing rags into rugs, his flexor tendons learning early how to wield a needle. But in between chores, David began to map the land. For help, he turned to his big brother, Rufus, 13 years older, a quiet and gentle nature lover with deep brown eyes. Rufus taught David how to settle the horses, with long strokes down the neck, where in the thickets to find the juiciest blueberries. Watching Rufus demystify the earth, David was transfixed. He says he held Rufus in absolute worship. Slowly, David began drawing intricate maps of everything they saw. He drew maps of his family's orchard, his walk to school, and when he finished the land he knew, he turned to places far away. He copied charts of distant townships, states, countries, continents, until his hungry little fingers had crawled over nearly every corner of the globe. The eagerness I then displayed, he writes, rather worried my mother, a large woman named Hulda. One day, having had enough, she took his whole pile of maps, creased and stained with his boyish sweat, and chucked it. Why? Who knows? Perhaps it was because Hulda and her husband Hiram were devout Puritans. They prided themselves on martyry accomplishments like never laughing out loud and beating the sun to the fields each morning. Spending one's time making maps of lands already mapped would have seemed like a frivolity, an insult to the use of a day, especially when they were struggling as they were, when there were apples to pick and potatoes to hoe and rags to sew. Or perhaps Hulda's disapproval was simply a reflection of the times. By the mid-19th century, the obsessive ordering of the natural world was beginning to fall out of fashion. The age of discovery had started over 400 years before and pretty much wrapped up in 1758 when the father of modern taxonomy, Carl Linnaeus, finished his masterpiece, Systema Naturae, a proposed blueprint for all the interconnections of life. No matter that Linnaeus's chart was riddled with mistakes, misfiling bats as primates and sea urchins as worms, to name a couple. As boats raced more frequently from port to port, the excitement of glimpsing exotic specimens and maps, once a way of luring people into shops, taverns, coffee houses, was wearing off. Dust was collecting upon cabinets of curiosity. The world, it seemed, had become known. Though there's a chance it could have been something else. At that very moment, a blasphemous text was screeching through the presses. On the Origin of Species was released to the masses in 1859, just as little David was beginning to scrunch his nose up at the stars. Is there any possibility that Hulda could have read the newspapers? Could have sensed that the order of the natural world was about to cave in? Whatever the reason, Hulda would not budge. With her fist full of David's crumpled maps, she told her son to find something more relevant to do with his time. Like a good boy, he obeyed. He stopped making maps. But like a real boy, he did not. Not really.